Hi, my name is Samantha and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be making a Grinch advent calendar. Let's get into it. So I bought this project panel at the Quilter studio in Fair City Mall in Fairfax, Virginia. I don't remember how much I spent on it. I do have the haul video. I'll have that link down below. I want to say it was like somewhere between 10 and 20, maybe $15. So we have this top part of the panel, which I think I'm intended to keep together. And then the bottom part of the panel is repeats of the numbers. So what I'm thinking is that we cut off this bottom panel and then all of these little boxes on the bottom are our little pockets, right? I have this fabric from the thrift store in my stash. It's not a perfect match of the Grinch green, but it's pretty close and it's free. We already have it. Use what we have. So that is what I'm thinking for the pockets. So I want to have everything be lined, right? So this top part, I want this to be the front and then have this be the lining. And then all the little pockets, this will be the front and then this will be the lining. So, and we need a way to hang it. So those are kind of the things that I'm looking to do on this project. I don't have a solid plan, but that's kind of where I'm going with this. So I'm thinking the first thing to do would be to cut off these, the little squares on the bottom and then line them, right? So probably adhere it to the top and then, so that it's the pocket, so that then it's got the lining, and turn it right side out. And then attach the pockets onto all these pieces and then attach the back, because then the pocket seams will be inside the lining. I also am wondering whether or not I should put some kind of batting or interfacing in this. We're gonna have to look through my stash and see what I've got and use something that I already have. And then to hang it, I don't have a dowel. I should have gotten a dowel. Maybe by the time I finish this project, I'll have one. So it needs to be like kind of this long, right? So this panel is 24, so maybe like a 30-inch dowel. And I don't know if I want to do, like, the simplest way would be to like do like a long channel, right? The other option is like to have an exposed channel, like have something above, maybe like 2 ribbons. The other option is to have like 2 ribbons on the back. So I'm not positive how I want to do the hanging part, but I do want it to be very versatile, like, and be able to have multiple options to hang it up. So I think the first thing is just to get the main panel done, get the pockets put on, and then we can start to think about like what's the best way to hang it. Also, like how heavy it is, like how is it sagging. Like I worry about only putting 2 loops. Like I don't want it to be saggy, right? I want it to be like taut, so that I can put a decent amount of things in the pockets, right? Because if you have 24 pieces, let's say, of candy, right? That's like a bag of candy. How much does a bag of candy weigh? So I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts so far. I want to get the pockets sewn on and then we can go from there. So come along with me. We're going to kind of do a vlog type video and I'm going to show you the process while I make this. So here's where we're at so far. I just had them on a row. I'm working 1 row at a time and I was trying to figure out how much I want the gap to be. So the first one I did pretty tight around the edges, but I don't like that because then how am I going to stitch it down? There's nothing to stitch it down to. So then I tried, okay, let me just do a gap on the 3 sides because the top is where you're going to open it. And I was like, I don't think that has enough like structural integrity if I can't top stitch it. So I think I'm going to do a gap all the way around, and then I will clip the corners so it'll come out nicer than this, and then I'll do a stitch along the top to increase the structural integrity, and then I can place it down and stitch the 3 sides, and I think that will increase the durability of this. So I did these with a long stitch length, so I can go ahead and turn them right side out. There is a little opening right here because this is the back, and I can fix them and do a tighter stitch length and then clip the corners. So I'm gonna redo these and I'm gonna do all of these guys and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so we have the pockets all prepped. So they have the lining and they are top stitched. So now I need to place them on all their spots and stitch down the 3 sides. This is coming along really great. Okay, so I am working on placing all of the pouches down, and what I'm doing is I have a pin in all 4 corners, and then I'll take this pin and insert it into all of the 4 corners. That'll tell me where it goes, and then put 2 pins down, and that's how I've gotten all of these to attach where they belong, so they're all nice and straight. And then what I'm going to do is take it to the sewing machine and do a back tack, and then go down and around and a back tack, and that will lock in the top stitches as well as lock in the pockets. And I'm so excited. I think at that point then we'll be done with the front panel and we can start figuring out how it's going to hang and the back. Okay, so here is how all of the pockets look. They look super cute and they work well. So when I was trying to think of what to do on the back, so my plan was to do the color that I did for the pockets. And I was gonna embroider on the back like made by Samantha, December 2024. And then I was thinking, okay, well, what if I make it so the back is like Thanksgiving or fall? And I was looking through my fabrics, not really finding what I wanted. And if you've been around for a minute, you know that I'm not into seasonal decor. Like, I want something that can be used a lot. And I was like, wait a minute, what if I make this an all year round thing? So then I started looking at my fabrics, and of course I picked a granny floral because I love florals. And then I was like, okay, so this is pretty and this can be hung up all year, but how is it functional? What is it gonna do for me? And then I was thinking, and when I go places, I like getting either a postcard, a sticker, or a pin. And I don't have somewhere to put the pins. The stickers and the postcards, I know where I'm putting those, but the pins, I don't have a place to put them. And I was thinking, like, how could I like hang a ribbon or something, but I still want the pattern to be here? And I was like, wait a minute, I'm gonna make a strip, like a strap, you know, and iron the seam onto the back. And then if I lay it down where it belongs, then it will like, here, it's not the right spot. It'll like blend in, right? Like, how freaking cool is that? And then I can put the pins, see, like I have a bunch of pins right here. I can put the pins onto the strips, and look, you can barely even see it's there. How cool is that? So the pins are gonna be like floating in the flowers. And so I have 8 strips. So when I cut this is like the width of the fabric. This is what was remaining. So there's gonna be 9 strips, and I'm gonna line them up so that you can't see them. I'm gonna line them up so they go within the pattern. And then the hanging part, I do think that I'm gonna do it so that it is like exposed. So we're gonna get a dowel that goes across the top, and I think we're gonna paint it black. So anyways, I'm really excited. This wouldn't be a Samantha project if we didn't like change something halfway, but I'm so excited that this is going to be like an all year round thing where I can find a place to hang this and then like put a nail in the wall, and then it's there all year. Just flip it around Christmas time. So let me go ahead and get these straps made. If you don't get what I'm saying, I cut 2-inch strips, laid it right sides together, and then just sewed a channel and turned it right side out and pressed it so the seam is in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and then lay them where they belong, get them basted on the top and bottom. We do need to put some interfacing in here, and we need to put something like a tab so it's hanging on the top. Here is how the back side is looking. So all of these strips over here I was able to get to line up with the pattern, but these 2 would not line up. One of them is supposed to go right on the edge here, and the other one, I don't know where it's supposed to go. It's not lining up. But I feel like overall you can't really tell. I don't know. I'm debating just taking these strips off because this side looks so good. And like, see, like this is where the pin belongs. And I definitely need to stitch it down at the bottom and the top to baste it. And then right now I have pins here and there, so that would be like 2, so that every third would be stitched down. But I think I need to do half, so stitch it down at the halfway and then the quarter marks. I think it needs 3 tacks, just so that when it's hanging up and then once it gets the pins and the pins weigh it down, that it's still steady. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack down the ones on the left, and I don't know about these ones on the right. That's gonna drive me nuts that they don't match up. Here is how it looks tacked down. So we've got about 6-inch sections because I basted it at the top and the bottom, and then in the middle and the first quarter and last quarter. These last two are driving me nuts because this side looks so good. Like, okay, so here's how it looks if I use all of them, and if I take these two off, like, look how beautiful that looks. I love how these ones like go with the pattern, but I cannot get these guys to match up. I'm debating whether I should just do like small little sections and like just cut these apart, but then I have a raw edge, so then I would have to like push this inside. I don't know, because this is going to get caught when we turn it right side, like when we do the right sides together. So I think for these last two strips, I may cut them up and just get them to match where they can on this right side, because I feel like if I don't put anything on this side, then like this side's going to get too heavy, because you see how all the strips are on this end. So then we have like, what is it? Oh crap, I just threw all the pins. This is about 9 inches where there's nothing, and this over here is 12 plus 3, so what, about 15? This is so frustrating because this looks so beautiful. This is exactly how I wanted it on this side, but this side is not working. Okay, so here's what I came up with. So they aren't great, but they line up a lot better. Like, I'm loving how this side looks. This side, this isn't a great matchup, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4 right here rather than the 2 long strips, and it looks a little better. They match up a little bit more. I would have loved to have it seamless, but I'm worried about the weight distribution if I don't have stuff on this side. So I am going to put these strips on. I need to figure out how I'm going to do the raw edges, because these raw edges will be caught when we turn. So I'm going to think on this for a minute and then get these stitched down. Okay, so here's where we're at. So it's definitely not perfect on this right side, but I feel like this is better. So I went ahead and so the raw edge, I shoved it in and then sewed along the edge so that there's no raw seam, and then I folded it inwards. So now I'm gonna stitch down a little box on each of these, and then like this longer one, I'll do a tack around the middle, just like I did on these other ones on the left. But I feel like the right side blends a little better now than it did before, and I used up all the straps. So there's one big one right here, a big one right here, 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 and here. So I definitely feel like they blend better. I'm going to go ahead and get that stitched down, and then we can start sewing the 2 panels together. Here's another update. So I went ahead and stitched down some interfacing. So I just had this in my stash. I wanted to find a stitch that wouldn't take away from the design. So I just did this fun like wavy stitch in the same green thread that I used for the pockets. And then I also did, I don't know if this is a basting stitch or if it's going to stay on. I would love to keep this design in the final product, but I don't know because of this bottom part. You can see that there is space on the other sides, but not on the bottom. So the next thing I was working on was the loops. So I have, these are 3 inches each, and I'm thinking that's where I want them. I want to wait until I have the dowel so I can like lift it and see if that's how I want it. I don't know. I may stitch down the top just so I can fully see it. I'm going to actually just stitch these down with a basting stitch and attach this to the top so that way we can see what it looks like with the dowel. But we'll still need to stitch the whole thing, and I went crazy with the pins. You can see there's a pin in every single pocket. So let me go ahead and just baste these guys down, baste the top down, that way we can see what the top of it's gonna look like. Okay, update time. So here is how it looks on the dowel. I absolutely am so excited about this project. Obviously, this is not how I fully want it done at the end. I just was basting it down and wanted to test it out. And the dowel is too long, probably going to cut off, I don't know, about that much, right? It's 36 inches long, so maybe make it, this is 30, so maybe make it like 34 or 32. And then I think I need to add 2 extra loops, one over here and one over here, because I think that it will end up sagging on the top. So I want to go ahead and make 2 more loops, get those stitched down, and then the next time that we sew it together, this will get encased, right? But I'm glad that it's like this because then now all the loops can be encased together. And I also want to paint this dowel black. Okay, here's my wonky setup here that I have it pinned between my fabric and the ironing board. I definitely like having the extra ties. I think that's important, but now I'm not happy with the spacing. So we are gonna take off these 4 and they are gonna be respaced, rebasted on. But that's why we're doing this, because I want this to be perfect. So I'm gonna take these 4 guys off, redistribute them, and then I think we're ready to sew it together. Okay, so we are just taking this thing one side at a time. So what I did is I saw that I needed to sew down 1 inch past my original stitch marks. So I put my gauge in place and then I sewed 1 inch below. Now I'm gonna go ahead and trim all of this. As we can see, now all that selvage is taken away. It is not perfect. It is not perfectly even along the top, but that's okay. The other thing I want to do is once I've cut this open, these 2 fabrics will be free. So that means that then I can understitch. So then I want to put a line of stitches along the top on this side, and that will keep the top interfacing in place. So I'm going to go ahead and do those 2 steps. And I was just testing what it looked like on the dowel, and I think we have enough connection points now. So once I get it trimmed and top stitched, then we can go ahead and do the sides. Okay, so that understitching worked out really well and it serves multiple purposes. It's keeping this side stronger. It's keeping the tabs stronger because now they are caught up in this extra set of stitches. Also, it keeps the back away from the front so that the tabs hang easier on the top. So what I need to do now is iron it, and then also remember this basting stitch holding the lining. I can unpick this along the top right now and we can stitch the front to the back. Okay, so now we have the front and the back sewn together. So what I did is I followed this basting stitch that is holding the interfacing to the front panel, and I went a presser foot away from it. So that is how I did the 2 sides, and as you can see, we were able to preserve the stars. So now we kind of have a conundrum. So we need to do the bottom. I cannot do the same thing. I cannot go that far away from the bottom because the edge is right there. So what I can do is I can follow these stitches. I can't go any higher or we'll lose some of the bottom pockets. Now the issue is we need to turn this thing right side out. If I leave a spot like that on the bottom, I feel like it's going to be hard to shut. I feel like I should have left an opening on the side. So now I feel like I need to cut a hole on the side over here. I'm thinking like this big so we can turn it right side out, and then I'm hoping we can machine stitch it shut, but we might have to hand stitch, which I hate hand stitching. We also need to trim the corners so that we have nice points. So I think that's what we're gonna do, and we're almost done. Okay, so we have all sides sewn together. Next problem, so these right here are the stitches for the bottom part of our, what are they called? The tabs going long ways for the pins. So I've got the opening here. We can see what it looks like, but we're gonna have some raw edges on the bottom, I think. But I don't think we can sew any higher because we're gonna risk losing the pockets. So I need to turn it right side out and see if we can go like 1/4 of an inch more with our bottom stitching. Okay, so here is how it's looking. So I'm not totally happy with how the front is kind of coming to the back, and I do need to unpick these stitches. The bottom is fine. So on the back side here, turn it around. On the back side, you can see some of the stitches, but there are no raw edges. So the hole I do need to, where is it at? I think it's on this side. Where'd the hole go? the hole's right here. I do think I need to hand stitch it because otherwise you're gonna see the stitches on this side. So I'm gonna hand stitch this shut, unpick these basting seams. I'm wondering if I should turn it right side out again and trim down. I think I'm gonna turn it right side out again and trim down this interfacing because I think that's what's giving it so much bulk and not allowing the front to not be on the back, like the edges here. The corners do look good. The corners look good. And I feel like we have enough hanging points that it's not gonna like, it's not gonna bow. So I need to paint the rod, finish unpicking, and whoop, and close this seam. And I'm hoping to do a final reveal for you guys. And I have a bowl of candy here. I can fill it up and we can see what it looks like. So this is my super fancy painting setup. So I've got an empty egg carton. I've got some cheap paint from when I did a painting class along with the paintbrushes that they gave me. And then the dowel, I cut it using a combination of like a wire cutter and a box cutter. Like I kind of went back and forth between the two to cut it down. It was 36 inches, now it's 30. And of course I found a saw right as soon as I was done doing that because I bought one for carving pumpkins. Whatever. So we've got it painted, and I even painted like the ends. I didn't have sanding paper for that side, but I painted the ends, and then I have like an open Amazon bubble mailer. So that's how I painted it. You know, it's nothing fancy, but it got the job done. So let me show you the final product. Okay, I apologize in advance if the audio is bad in this room. We are actually in my guest bathroom because this is the only place that I have two command hooks vertically or horizontally hung. So this is what the pin side looks like. So I have found a couple pins from around the house and I hung them up. I love that I stitched it down so the weight of the pins doesn't like pull down too hard. So I've got like my So Sustainable pin. This is from the Dallas World Aquarium. This is from a Harry Potter trivia night. This is from the JFK Museum. And then this is from the Yingling Brewery. So I have a bunch more pins. I just have to find them throughout the house. And then let me turn it around. Okay. And here's how the advent calendar looks. It is so cute. I've got a couple treats in it. So like a Reese's tree. I've got some Hershey Kisses. There's 2 in there. Some Carmelos. So like pretty much any little candy fits. I've got some little Three Musketeers, a lint candy. So I think it turned out really well. Like, go slowly over it. I am so happy with how this project turned out. You know, it's not perfect, but I think I did a really good job for it being my first time. I think I could even cut down the rod a little bit more, like, I don't know, maybe another inch, 2 inches total, like inch on each side. But anyways, I think this turned out so well. I cannot wait to find a real home for it. This was just to show you in the video, but here's how it looks. I am so excited. I'm so proud of how this side turned out. I love how like you can barely see the straps. So excited. So anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and have a wonderful day.